Facebook and Zoom are ready. I'm assuming. Yes. If you wish to follow along with the service this morning, you can scan the QR code on the screen or go to riverofgrassuu.org/2023-OOS to find the order of service there.
Swirling and dancing along, we pass by the old willow tree, where lovers caress as we sing them our song, rejoicing together as we greet the sea. And it goes on and on, watching the listening and learning and yearning, listening and learning and yearning, listening and learning and yearning, to run, river, run.
Welcome to the beloved community here at River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation, both here in person, and for those of you joining us on Zoom, we welcome you too. We celebrate all the ways we find to gather our beloved community in body and in spirit as we go and grow flow and run the river way. I'm Karen Gonzalez, and my pronouns are she and her. You here in this room, again, we welcome you. You on Zoom or Facebook Live, we welcome you. However you made your way to us this morning, we welcome you. Let us pause together to enter into this time as we connect again with one another, with the holy by any name, and the light of love within us all. While we remain mindful that not everyone can breathe easy nor find it easy to breathe, let us take a moment to breathe into our time together. In this congregation, it is our mission to nurture our spirits, love intentionally, and create a just and healthy planet in our enduring search for truth, meaning, and faith. What we share here is not an unchanging dogma, but an affirmation that we are called to be agents of love and justice, and to build a world where everyone is cherished for who they are.
This morning we continue our February theme of belonging. We continue the theme with this service celebrating River of Grass's 25th birthday. It is in this spirit that it is our joy to welcome the Reverend Ken Belden, who helped plant this congregation 25 years ago. Rev Ken's pronouns are he and him, mine are she and they. He was the first minister of River of Grass from 1998 to 2005. From 2005 to 2022, he was the founding minister of Wellsprings Congregation in the Philadelphia suburbs that he was hired by the UUA to start from scratch, just like here. Ken did his academic training for the ministry at Yale Divinity School and Union Theological Seminary in the 1990s. He got a Master's of Social Work in 2019, retired from congregational ministry in 2022, and is now a full-time psychotherapist in private practice. He lives with his spouse, Teresa. Now, am I going to say this right? Conshohocken? Conshohocken. Say it with me. Conshohocken, just outside of Philadelphia, with their two pet rabbits, H.R. Fluff and Stuff and Simon. Rev Ken and I will begin today's celebration with these words from our colleague, the Reverend Gretchen Haley, in her piece called Be Generous with Your Dreaming. This has a part for you, of course. Please say with us, cast your vision here. Cast your vision here. Cast your vision here, in the middle of the hardest moment, the turning of the season, this life so much worth. I love how eager you are. I have some words too. Okay, here we go. Cast your vision here. In the middle of the hardest moment, the turning of the season, this life with so much worth saving, this fragile faith.
For the children born now into the world as it is, with the brutalities of war and whole continents burning, still while their memory lingers of times chaotic and miraculous into this day.
Cast your vision here. Offer the vision you've tried to talk yourself down from. Your wildest dream, your audacious aims, the beauty that whispers to you to follow, to build, to become.
For this world coming undone by distraction and greed and fear, this world divided by made-up borders, fake fights, and all that needs forgiveness.
Here, stir up your steadfast hope, your resolute clarity of what remains possible. Be generous with your dreaming and brave. All paths to the future are born in this courage of imagination, this willingness to shed, to salvage, to start again, to be this blessing for each other, to be this blessed. Cast your vision here. Come, let us worship together. We open our hearts now to our River of Grass choir, singing for us, Where You Go, I Will Go, Beloved, a piece by Shoshana Jadwab. And we've been singing it all month, so if you feel so moved, please, please join your voices.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through generations, now ours, to hold high. As we light our chalice together this morning, let us join our voices with these words. We come to this time and this place to rediscover the wondrous gift of free religious community, to renew our faith in the holiness, goodness, and beauty of life, to reaffirm the way of the open mind and full heart, to rekindle the flame of memory and hope, and to reclaim the vision of an earth made fair with all her people one. In the light of love, let us renew our covenant as we say together, love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente.
Seal this promise in song. Please rise as you are so moved in body or in spirit as we sing, There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul, in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul once more. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. Take that in.
In our community each week, we share pieces of our lives. We take a moment to share our joys and sorrows, and gratitude here with people who love us for exactly who we are, where we are right now. Here in the room, we will share from the book.
And now, in the quiet of this hour together, we also make way for those things written and unwritten, spoken and unspoken. For we know we carry things on our hearts when we come through these doors that we may not have expressed or wished to yet. And we also know that once we're here, things may arise in our hearts that have strong feelings for us, have yearnings, have sorrows, have joys, have concerns, have contemplations. And so we've made this space for you to mark this moment, if you have such a thing in your heart, to bring it in community in a symbolic way with these stones of reflection. Please come forward as you are so moved and offer a stone of reflection to the water of renewal. source of all. Called by so many names, none of which we can fully know nor understand. We bring these things spoken, unspoken, written, and unwritten. We ask that our hearts be seen even as we become better seers of heart. For those who come in sorrow, we offer comfort. For those who come with wounding, we offer healing. For those who come with joy, we dance with you. For those who come with contemplations and discernments, we companion you through the transitions, the pathways of your lives. We lift these things with our hearts and from our hearts in the power of community, knowing that the burdens we bring are made lighter and the joys we bring are made brighter. We come out from the world where there is so much trouble, where there is so much pain and so much fear. We ask that we also become emissaries of love and hope and light in a world sorely in need, in a time tumultuous, chaotic, and painful for so many. May we see clearly our part and have the courage to do it, knowing that together we are powerful beyond measure. We lift these things in the name of all that is holy. Amen, amen, amin, aho, ashe. Namaste, blessed be. And so it is. We seal this prayer in song. The words are right before you.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
One of the things we do in our Sunday services is remember where we came from and look to where we're going. We look at our heritage, those who have brought us here, and we look toward our hope, those who will companion us farther along. This morning, for our heritage, we look at the great cloud of witnesses. This painting by Coco Olson is called Cloud of Witnesses. Who is this cloud of witnesses? It's those who have gone before. It's those who laid the way for us here. In the wider world, in Unitarianism, in Universalism, then in Unitarian Universalism, those who came before in this congregation to make the way for us to be together this morning. Our loved ones, our beloveds in the widening circles of our lives, gather round us as a cloud of witnesses. You are the result of a love of thousands, a love that will not let you go. This is our heritage. This morning, for our hope, we ask you to pick up the little white round plastic thing you found in your seat this morning. If someone near you does not have one, please be sure that they do. I have two more. We just had an auction. Could I get a bid? We'll get y'all some more. Open those up. And what do you see? You. You are where we find our hope this morning. This 25th anniversary of the life of this congregation. You are carrying on for that cloud of witnesses, urging you on, whispering in your ear, dream, grow, build. This morning we find our hope And there will be days that you look upon your own reflection and wonder if you can. And when you have one of those days, reach for us and we will companion you until you do. It is not that we always know the way. We can only know who we're traveling with. Our hope this morning lies in you. You are welcome.
We sustain and strengthen this beloved community and its work in our world through the gifts of our time, our skills, our love, and our money. Each Sunday, half of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, which provides meals, clothing, and support for those in need here in Broward County. The other half supports our mission and ministry at River of Grass. Ushers, please come forward to receive the offering. Scan the QR code or text the number on the screen to donate. You can also find several ways to give on the donate page on our website at riverofgrassuu.org. Thank you for your generous gifts.
Look at you. Look what you did. This congregation remembers how to party. And that felt like old times and new times, right? That was a beautiful thing about it. It was old times like, oh yeah, we remember how to do this, and new times, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do it this way now. So all of y'all, we asked you to raise your hands a little while ago. I'm going to ask you if you had any part in it. If you are willing to rise so that we may bear witness to your countenance so tired and joyful this morning. You know what to do. You didn't have to do what you did, but you did, but you did. And we thank you. You didn't have to do what you did, but you did, but you did. And we thank you.
All right. Oh, I don't know. Am I on? I'm good. Okay, good. This morning's story comes from where Unitarian worship began. On the other side of the world, in a place called Transylvania. Transylvania. It's not just where vampires came from. So many years ago in the land of Transylvania, in a mountain valley watered by quick rushing streams and shadowed by great forests of beech trees, there was a village of small wooden houses with dark shingled roofs. The people in the village were of the Unitarian religion, and they wanted a church of their own. Sound familiar? A church set on the hillside, they decided, looking down upon the village as a mother looks down upon her sleeping child. So all the people of the village labored long and hard to build themselves a church. The stone masons hammered sharp chisels to cut great blocks of gray stone, then set the stones into stout and sturdy walls. The glaziers made tiny glass panes and fitted them neatly into the windows with leaded lines. The foresters sawed tall beech trees into enormous beams and laid the trusses for the ceiling, then covered the roof with close-fitting wooden shingles that wouldn't leak a drop of rain. The carpenters carved wood for the pair of wide-opening doors, setting them on strong pegs so that the doors hung straight and square. A bell was brought from a faraway city, then hoisted by ropes up a heave and a hoe to the top of the tower. The weavers wove fine cloths for the altar table, cloths embroidered with flowers and edged with lace. The smiths hammered black iron into the tall lampstands and hammered thin bronze into shining oil lamps. And we thought we worked hard yesterday. Finally, when the building of the church was done, the painting of the church could begin. The painters mixed bright colors, royal red and shimmering gold and brilliant blue, and everyone in the village, old and young, women and men, boys and girls, came to decorate their church. They painted flowers. They painted trees. They painted designs around the windows and different designs around the doors. And at the end of the day, when it was finished, when their church was finally done, all the people of the village stood back to admire it, and then to sing a song of happiness and praise. Their village had a church now, a church set on the hillside, looking down upon the village as a mother looks down upon her sleeping child. "We will eat now," announced an elder of the village, because everyone was hungry after their long day's work, "and later tonight we will come back to pray." So the people of the village went down the hillside to their homes and their suppers, all except one little girl named Zora and her father, who stayed behind. They had brought their own bread and cheese. They ate their food slowly, sitting on the grass on the hillside and admiring their new church with its strong stone walls and its tall tower and a magnificent bell. After they had eaten, they went back inside, opening those carved wooden doors to go into the gloriously painted sanctuary inside. "Oh, look, Father," Zora cried, running from picture to picture with her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. "See how pretty the church is?" She stopped in the center of the church and twirled slowly around. "See how grand?" "Yes, it is," said her father, looking around and nodding with pride. "Yes, it is." "But Father," she said suddenly, "we have not finished." "What do you mean?" "There are tall iron lampstands all along the walls, but there are no lamps. The church will be dark when the people come back." "Ah, no, little one," said her father. "The light of the church comes from its people. You shall see." He rang the bell to call the people to worship, then took his daughter by the hand and led her back outside. They waited on the grassy hillside next to their beautiful church of strong gray stone. The sun had set behind the mountains and night was coming soon, yet in the growing darkness, tiny points of light came from many directions and move steadily up the hill. Each family is entrusted with a lamp, little one, her father explained. Each family lights its own way here. Where is our family's lamp? Your mother is carrying it. She will be here soon. The many lights moved closer together, gathering into one moving stream, all headed the same way, growing larger and brighter all the time. Zora's mother arrived bearing a burning oil lamp in her hands. The father lifted Zora so she could set their family's lamp high in its tall iron stand. All around the church, other families were doing the same. Soon the church was ablaze with light in every corner, for all the people of the village had gathered to pray and to sing. All through the worship service, Zora watched the lights flicker and glow. She watched her family's lamp most of all. When the service was over, her father lifted her high. She took the shining bronze lamp from the lampstand. Its curved sides were warm and smooth in her hands. Her mother carried the lamp home, with the flame lighting the way. The lamp flame lit their house when they returned home. Zora washed her face and got ready for bed by the light of that flame. Mother, Zora began as she climbed into bed and lay down. Yes, little one, her mother asked, tucking the red wool blanket around Zora's shoulders. Father said, the light of the church comes from its people. Yes, but also the people take their light from the church. Over on the table by the fireplace, the shiny bronze lamp was still burning. And we have that light every day. Yes, indeed, said her mother. And even when we are not in church, even when the lamp is not lit, we carry the light of truth in our minds and the flame of love in our hearts to show us the right way to be. That light, the light from truth and love, will never go out. So just like Zora and her family, we too take the light from here with us every day. We have the light of truth in our minds, the flame of love in our hearts. It guides our way until we are together again. And so to remind the grown-ups of this, we have little cards that you're going to help me hand out to them. And you can also give them the beautiful hearts that you've been decorating so that they can they can use the magnet to hold a little card where they want to be able to look at it all the time, right? Okay.
listening and learning and yearning. To run, river, run. One time when I was a medium young adult, I went back to Oklahoma to my grandmother's house for a family gathering. Hadn't been there in quite some time. I'd been out traveling the world. I'd been playing music. I'd been meeting people. I'd left the religion I grew up in. But I was home to be with my family. And there in my grandmother's little house on top of a hill in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, she had one extended wall, one expansive wall from the kitchen door to the bathroom door on the other end of the house where the bedrooms were. And all along that wall were photographs. In the middle were photographs of my grandmother and my granddaddy when they were young and feisty and gorgeous. And then a little older and young and feisty and gorgeous. And then a little older, feisty and gorgeous. They were farm folk. They married young. And then pictures of my mother and her brother, and then them with their spouses, and then them with their children, and then the grandchildren, and then the great-grandchildren. And so this entire expansive wall was covered floor to ceiling with photographs of our history. I was standing there looking at it, didn't even realize really that I had stopped to ponder all these photographs, because there I was as a baby. There I was as bigger. There I was as bigger. Here I was coming home a really different adult than folks had expected me to be, than I expected me to be. And all of a sudden my father stepped up behind me. I didn't hear him come. I just heard his voice very softly say, "Remembering who you are." Last night as I watched all those slides go by, watched all those photographs of people, watched you watch them, watched Rev Ken watch them, I looked out across you and I said, we're remembering who we are. On this 25th anniversary weekend, with 25 years of this congregational life behind us and so many more to come, building so that this place will be here when we are the ancestors and they look at their heritage and they say, yeah, they did a good thing in 2024. We are very, very blessed to have with us this morning someone who was there with you in the beginning and can help us remember.
So I'm going to take you back a little bit here today, and there's some debate about what actually occurred in this occasion. As the Simpsons like to say, you know how I love my Simpsons references, records from that era are spotty at best. So it was the Sunday before I was officially to start here with all of you in the fall of 1998. And I had just arrived in South Florida a couple weeks before that and just was beginning to get settled. And what would have been the first Sunday in October, our first official Sunday worship, the week before that there was a gathering where we all gathered last night, Treetops Park, except this was outside on a Sunday morning in September in South Florida. You're getting the theme here. It was warm. And I, who had just arrived from the Northeast with all the stuffiness and all the expectation of what a minister should look like on a Sunday morning, doesn't matter if you're in a park. And this is the part we can't quite remember. Was I wearing herringbone? Was it tweed? Was it wool? Here's the thing. I was hot. And as my ancestors would say, I was schwitzing. And I got to imagine that to some of the people who were greeting me for the first time on that gathering, Treetops Park, some of those folks, and maybe y'all were wondering, who the heck does this guy think he is? But here's the thing. I, who was terrified of making a mistake, wandered into the group of people I was supposed to lead, who were in shorts and tropical prints feeling completely out of place, and you welcomed me. And that was the first experience, even before I was officially your minister, that you were congruent with the first thing I ever read about you in the spring of 1998, in print, wrapped in, what was it, Karen, raffia? Yeah. Some of you folks remember the raffia, with your printed materials that came to me, introducing you to me. And the word that I saw in there over and over and over again is we wish to be, we yearn to be a sanctuary in western Broward County. That day, as nervous as I was, and the heat did not help with the flop sweat, you were sanctuary to me. And I got a sense, not just in my mind, but in my bones and in my body, that this was a place where we would grow together. What I remember from that beginning is that, as the Buddhist tradition says, we were beginner's mind. We were so green, I was so green, and we never held it against each other. In fact, we embraced it to be able to recognize what beginner's mind is all about. In the expert's mind, there are no possibilities because we know it all already. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. That's what I recall from who we were back then.
I've known some of y'all since my folky days, playing music all over the state, all over the country, all over the world. I met Gary and Karen at a folk festival in 1997. And that led to being asked to come to SUSI, Southeast Unitarian Universalist Summer Institute. Say it again, Southeast. SUSI. As a concert performer. Karen and Gary had been talking to me about it for years. Finally, I got invited to go as a concert performer, and I got to meet Unitarian Universalism. I started throwing out what I thought was heretical ideas, expecting y'all to boot me, like I'd been booted from so many other places. I'd throw out a heretical idea that I thought was radical and heretical, and you'd go, huh, I'm really interested how you got to that conclusion. And I would go, because I hadn't really got there. I was just seeing if you'd throw me out so I didn't have to do this. And it was at SUSI that the little girl heart in me that had been so wounded by religion began to heal. I told some of y'all I was going to seminary, and you said, yeah. And then a few years later, you once again welcomed a minister fresh out of school. And we started again after much change in your lives as a congregation, many repeated changes. And you invited in this person fresh out of school again and said, we're going to try. We're going to find the possibilities. We're going to find what we can do together. We're going to find who we are again. We're going to keep this river flowing. We had no idea what was going to come across the next 12 years, y'all. 12 years. But we gave one another a chance to begin again in love and be Unitarian Universalists we said we wanted to be, and give each other the room to try and fail and try and fail and try again. And here we are.
So I started with an alpha story of a beginning, and I'm going to share now an omega story, an end. This, for those of you who were there on Friday night, got a little taste of the story I'm going to share with you right now. This was my going away party. This was in June of 2005. The final time I saw a number of you for a number of years. And let's just be honest with all of us, there were a number of emotions in the room that night. But the chief among them was the deep and abiding sense of connection between us. Now, Teresa Nazario, to whom I am married and have been married for well over 15 years now, she was there with me. And most of you were there back then. I'd only met her a couple times before that going away party to mark the end of my ministry. And the thing about Teresa is she was born in Puerto Rico, and parents got master's degrees in Illinois, and then they stayed in the Midwest, and they settled in this place called Dubuque, Iowa, which in the 1970s, as Teresa has told this story to me many times, if you had a vowel at the end of your name, that meant you were Italian. It was not the most hospitable place for a young girl from Puerto Rico whose parents spoke with thick accents to be and to feel belonging. And that absolutely was her and her family's experience in their church community. I use community in quotes because it didn't take. Her experience of religion was cold and unwelcoming, and it spoke of a doctrine that her skeptical mind, even at 5 years old, made no sense to her whatsoever. So she really had no time for spirituality, religion. She's a journalist. She's a skeptic by trade. And then she met me. Final year and a half that I was down here. And she thought, okay, I guess I can make this work. Fall in love with a guy who's clergy. I'm learning about this Unitarian Universalist stuff. He's not going to push anything on me. Not going to ask me to change or anything. And then she came to that goodbye party. And I remember when we were driving home at the end, you offered her sanctuary because not only was she religiously unaffiliated, she was religiously disaffected. And the words she said to me on the way home from that night is, I never knew a religious community could be so genuinely kind. You gave her an experience of faith community that opened something up in her. And I want to tell you that something was planted there that night. Because, yes, as Reverend Amy shared, I am retired now from congregational ministry. And Teresa continues to be one of the song leaders in our 9-piece band at Wellsprings to this day. That is because of what she experienced with you. You offered her sanctuary and experience of belonging that heretofore before that she had not known and didn't even think was possible and didn't even think she needed. But from that day to here, to the now, well, literally she's in Greece today with one of her best friends, but next week she'll be back at Wellsprings still leading the band. Thank you for that. Thank you for the sanctuary that you offered her.
Listening and learning and yearning to run, river, run. When I came on as your very part-time, quarter-time minister, while still working as a chaplain, which I'd been for a few years at that time, when I first came on as your quarter-time minister, yeah, we need chaplains in congregations too. Margie and I met and talked and brainstormed in the board, and I met with all the different committee chairs and all the different team leaders and all the musicians, and we brainstormed what we could do together with a quarter-time ministry. The list was massive. So we gathered everybody up and we said, you know what? We have time to do one good thing with a quarter-time ministry. We have time to do one good thing together this year. What will it be? And you said, right relationship. You had just written a beautiful covenant of right relationship to bring you back together after some really hard times. Do you know that that covenant that you wrote is in the book on covenants from the UUA? Because it's such a stellar example of what we need to do together and how we do it. You said, we've got this covenant of right relationship and it's beautiful and it works, but we need more help knowing how to come back together when we've broken it. And I said, oh, you want to start in the hardest thing we do. And that told me who you are and how brave is your soul and how determined to be the love that you preach. And we said, all right, let's go. And we spent that year working on right relationship and how we get back in it when we've fallen out, because we do. We ask people to come into religious community and bring your mess. And we come into religious community and bring our mess. And then we go, what a mess. The beauty is that's not where we stop. We find a way to get through that mess to the place we aim to be and the people we believe we can be. You wanted to start with me in the hardest place. How do we have right relationship? That's impressive. I told that story about you everywhere and every chance I get. There's a whole lot of people coming through this southern Florida region wanting to come see what River of Grass is about. That's you. So, what does that all lead to? You're 25. You're 25. Here's something we can ponder as we assess where we've been, where we are now, and where we're going to go, because we're on the threshold of a whole new era here for this congregation. Because organizations, bodies of people, behave very much like bodies of any human. We have things in common as a body of humans gathered that we do with any human body. And one of those things is how the brain works, how the brain of the organization works, how we think together, how we move together through all the processes of discernment about who we're going to be and how we're going to do it. You're 25. Who knows a 25-year-old? Most of us have kids or grandkids, and some folks in this room are also near to that age. What's it like to be 25? It can be a really intense time, but that time is also full of everything ahead. I've been on the planet now for a little while myself, so I kind of love it when a young adult says, but I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I say, oh, how old are you? I'm 25, 26. And if I haven't figured it out by now, what am I? And our society pushes us in that direction. But there's a reason why at 25 we don't have it figured out. Because biologically, our brain is still trying to figure it out. Could we have the next slide, Steve? Can y'all see past me over here? Do I need to move? It's not until we're turning 24, 25, 26 that the human brain, the prefrontal cortex, is actually engaged. Actually making some better decisions than we made when we were teenagers. Right? So let's look at this prefrontal cortex. Let's look at what it does. It produces empathy, insight, response flexibility, emotional regulation, bodily regulation, morality, intuition, attuned communication, and fear modulation. That's what's getting engaged at 25. That's what's getting engaged at 25. Because up till now, we've had a part of our brain called the limbic brain that's in charge of keeping us alive. That's the survival brain. That's the lizard brain. That's the one that says fight, flight, freeze whenever we feel danger, and that can be physical danger, spiritual danger, emotional danger, mental danger. The danger can be real, the danger can be imagined. Now, oversimplified, this means that to get to our highest functioning brain as human beings, which is the prefrontal cortex, the limbic survival brain must be satisfied that I am safe. Look what happened when you offered Teresa safety. How many of us are here this morning because we got here and something in us said, I'm safe. I can be me here. But until we're 25, that am I safe brain is in charge. Constantly looking for the ways that we find what we need until we feel safe enough to grow healthy in body, mind, and spirit. Now, this works for us as individuals, but it works for us as a collective, as what the Greeks call ecclesia. Ecclesia means gathering of the summoned. So as we cross into this next era of River of Grass's life, we got to ask ourselves, what summoned us? Why are we here? And if our am I safe survival limbic brain led us here into this place that is just starting to get into its prefrontal cortex with all that beautiful, healthy functioning and all that's in front of that. Every 25-year-old you know thinks it's over if they haven't got it all done by 25. That can happen to us as ecclesia as well. When we know, having been on the planet a while, there's so much ahead after 25. What questions do we ask? What do we do in our brains, in our bodies, in our souls to build that new way?
So I work with a number of young adults. And just as Reverend Amy said, the question they hear over and over and over again, what are you doing? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? Which kind of is code for how you're going to earn a living. So let's layer even more pressure upon young folks. And then we get surprised when they start seeing people like me for things like panic disorder, depression, problematic substance usage. And they start to believe that there is something inherently wrong with them. And so, well, you can't sit in on my therapy sessions. That's a HIPAA violation. Trust me when I say there is one question you will never hear me ask one of my young adults. What are you going to do with your life? Instead, I ask them different questions. Who do you love? What inspires you? What do you find you're interested in? What do you find really compelling to you? To borrow from wonderful Rabbi Sharon Bruce from the Icahar community in Los Angeles, California, who this past spring, as someone of Jewish heritage, has been of tremendous inspiration for me. She said that when Icahar was getting started, they asked a couple questions. What keeps you up in the middle of the night? And what gets you up in the morning? Those are questions of significance. Those are questions of possibilities. Those are questions of beginner's mind, in which we can re-engage with creativity. The message I am giving to my younger clients implicitly and explicitly, rather than not having it all figured out, being a deficit or a defect. It's actually developmentally completely appropriate. You are exactly where you need to be at 25. In a world of possibilities, where the things that you will do haven't even been dreamt of yet. What we're going to do here now is trust Rilke. He said to the Letters to a Young Poet, before we had modern psychology, there's a lot of people who were in on this stuff before we made it a science. He said, just live the questions. Live these questions. Take them into your heart. Let the questions form and shape you, and then someday you will live into the answers. But don't leap at it now. Trust the process. Live the questions. Become who you yearn to be.
Cast your vision here. Offer the vision you've tried to talk yourself down from. Your wildest dream, your audacious aims, the beauty that whispers to you to follow. Build. Become. Cast your vision here. Here, stir up your steadfast hope, your resolute clarity of what remains possible. Be generous with your dreaming and brave. All paths to the future are born in this courage of imagination. This courage you have had from the beginning. This courage, this willingness to shed, to salvage, to start again, to be this blessing to one another, and to be so blessed. May it be so. May we be so. As we gather these thoughts and sing together, Blue Boat Home. Please rise as you are so moved in body or in spirit, and take it in.
Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to This is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue heart home.
Let's just sing that last phrase together one more time. Just our voices.
And the earth is my blue heart home.
I love you. Wow. We have some ways to live our faith coming this week, starting with the meeting we're going to have in a few minutes to re-envision what our path forward is. But I want you all to mark on your calendar that other than that, this morning we have no announcements. I do want to let you know. Ken, would you come on up here? Do want to let you know that thanks to the labor of many, but the point person being this fella right here, part of whose ministry the past has been calling me with a report of where we are on our new rental location at A9 and giving me that report and then talking me, don't you go away, and then talking me down out of the trees when I was just furious that we weren't going to be ready yet. Well, we are happy to say that things are moving along, and Ken, what do you think?
I just got a note from the town of Davie. They've decided to change their unit of measurement from the imperial system to the metric system. So we're going to have to redo everything we've done. No, it's looking good. The painting is finishing up, and we're putting in some final pieces of furniture over the next week. So cross our fingers.
And so it is that nearly 4 years to the day that we had to shut it all down physically together and go virtual to keep one another safe. Nearly 4 years to the day. We'll be back together in a place we don't have to move into and out of every Sunday. And last night, the kind of party y'all threw, you're ready to have a place to party. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of community, not the fire of commitment, not the light that calls us on. Before we benedict and get ready to have our meeting here in a few minutes, Rev Ken, would you please offer us a blessing?
I want to invite all of us into the original blessing, which is this breath. We are inspirited. There's a reason that the ancient calls this by spiritus, by prana, by ruach. The alpha and the omega, the first thing and the last thing we do in this life, and every single moment in between. That yes, in a universe, in a world, and in a congregation of possibilities, there is also that which takes us back to ground, to safe and connection, and that reminds us in a way that we can only truly be reminded beyond words. that here within, between, among, belonging, belovedness has already been, will always be, and now in this moment, as we breathe, simply, amazingly, graciously is. May you live in blessing.
As we return to the worlds from whence we have come, let us hold before our eyes the vision of a world transformed and dare to transform ourselves to make it so. Until we meet again, shine on!
Goes on and on, watching the river run further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one, and we have just begun. Watching the river run, listening and learning and yearning, listening and learning and yearning, listening and learning and yearning, to run, river, run.